This is a short video about some slope review. So first let's start off with two equations you should know. The first is just your slope, which is rise over run. Or symbolically, it's your y values subtracted over your x values subtracted from your coordinates that you start off with. The other formula you should be familiar with is the slope-intercept form of a line, where the slope is the value in front of the x variable. All right, so let's do a couple problems utilizing these formulas. The first, example 1, is just going to be find the slope given 2 points. So if we have these 2 points, it doesn't matter which one we say is x1 or x2, just as long as y1 goes with x1 and y2 goes with x2. So I'm just going to label them in the order they're written. And then just substitute them into the equation. So 3 minus a negative 1 and negative 2 minus a 4. So be careful of this minus a minus because that's going to become a plus. And we end up with 4 over negative 6, and then just reduce it to negative 2/3. Right, so that's simple, just substituting in your values, finding the slope. Now we're going to get a little more complicated, and we're going to try to find a value given some information. And remember, you can always pause the video or go back if I move too quickly. All right, example 2. We are going to start with this equation. And we also know that the slope is equal to 3. So we want to find k. First thing you need to do whenever you're looking for a slope is to be in y-intercept form. And for you to be in y-intercept form, y has to be isolated or by itself. So I am going to isolate our y value. So I'm going to subtract the kx. And since 8 and kx are not like terms because the 8 doesn't have an x, I can't combine them. But I am putting the x term first just because that's how we're used to looking at it here in slope-intercept form. And then I'm going to divide by a negative 4 all of the terms in the equation. The negatives become a positive. So I have k over 4x and minus 2. All right, so step 1's done. Now I know that this is the slope and that it has to equal 3. So I know that k over 4 has to equal 3, and then I just multiply both sides by 4, and k is now 12. So I got isolated y, then I took whatever was in front of x, that's your slope. The coefficient of x is your slope, so then I set it equal to the known value of 3 from the problem. All right, and then we have one last example. And it's another type of k problem. So we're given 2 coordinates, but they have variables in them. And we are also given the fact that the slope is equal to 1/2, and we want to find k. So since I have 2 points, instead of using the slope-intercept form, I want to use the slope form and use this equation here that I'm circling. So I have my 2 coordinates and I'm going to subtract them. So I'm going to do 2k minus 2 and then minus the 2 from the other coordinate. And that's all divided by 5 minus the k plus 3. And notice that I put the k plus 3 in parentheses because you're going to have to distribute that negative. Now I can also replace the m with 1/2 because that's what we're told it equals. So I have 2k minus 4 in the numerator, and I have 5 minus k minus 3 from distributing the negative. So I'm going to have one more step. I have 1/2 equals 2k minus 4, and then minus k plus 2, combining the 5 and the 3. Now I can solve this equation by cross-multiplying. So I'm going to do 1 times negative k plus 2 and equals 2 times 2k plus 4. From here, it's a simple equation. I distribute, and I'm going to solve for k. And we're going to get a fraction for this answer, but that's okay. And we are done. K equals negative 6/5. And you can leave this as an improper fraction. So that's our review of slope. I hope this helped.